Hello, it's me again, John, the ex-cop and investigator. This is the second video concerning a killer ex-cop. As more and more people watch the first video, I've been receiving a lot of emails on my website asking for more details. I guess some of you are concerned about your safety. Well, if you're one of the bad guys or bad girls, you should be. A couple of the most often asked questions were for this woman's real name and for a good physical description so you could recognize her if you happen to see her. Well, it might be a little confusing to get into her name, so I'm going to save that for a minute and give you her physical description first. Sue has fairly long blonde hair, blue eyes. She's in her early 30s, but looks to be in her mid-20s. She's about 5'8" or 5'9", about 120 pounds. And most men would say she's well proportioned, if you know what that means. I'll tell you, it's also been said that she can shoot better than almost anybody. An FBI report I read stated that she shot a man, it was a bad guy, in the head at over 144 yards with her pistol, which is an FN-57. If you've never seen an FN-57, here's one. Composite gun, holds 20 rounds and shoots really, really fast, about 2,100 feet per second. Here's the pistol round. Looks more like a miniature rifle round, but this shells, I think Secret Service is using some of these and decide if you shoot somebody in a crowd or on an airplane, the bullet explodes inside them and don't kill the kid behind them. But that's what she shoots, and she's very good at it. So, and it holds, as I said, it holds 20 rounds, so you better be careful. But I'm getting myself a little bit distracted here. I'll get back to the purpose of this video, and I'll talk about her name. But before I tell you that, she the names that she uses are fairly common names, including her real name. And just because you know somebody with the same name, it doesn't mean that that person is the person we're talking about here, the ex-sheriff who kills people. So any similarities in these names is purely coincidental. So just be careful going out and accusing people of things. Her real name is Sue Davis Lang. She was born Sue Davis, and then her last name became Lang when she got married. And she was born and raised in Maine. But you will probably never see her or meet her when she's using that name, because I know for a fact that she has several aliases, and she apparently has some type of professional identification making machine, because the IDs that I've seen, driver's license from other state, look absolutely authentic, and it's nearly impossible to tell them apart from the real thing. But here are some of the names she uses. And these names have a little bit of a pattern to them. So as I read these names to you, you might think about how they connect together, or what pattern they are, or what they relate to that everybody knows. Because it might help you if sometime in the future she starts using another name that I'm not going to tell you here. There might be another, it might fit this pattern. But here we go. Wendy Hamlet, Brenda King, Lily Castle, Rhonda McDonald, and Donna Queen. Think about that set of names, and you might figure out where they're coming from. Other names that she's used have a pattern to them of a different type. Michelle Jordan, Harriet Callahan, Leah Child, and Jackie Reacher. Not Jack Reacher, Jackie Reacher. One I know that you will not recognize is Ann Bradley, and I think that name, she came up with that name because of her her deceased husband's name was Brad, so I think that's how she came up with that. But and one last point for this video is many of you have asked through your emails on the website about other examples of what she's done delivering her own form of justice. And I'll tell you another story. A few years ago, there was a junior high school teacher, a man, who seduced one of his 14-year-old girl students. I believe this happened in Montana. The man got caught, got fired, of course, and was sent to jail, sent to prison. But for some reason, an idiot judge let him out early, and after he got out, he got involved with another young girl. And when that news got out, that young lady was so ashamed of what happened that she committed suicide. Well, the guy was charged again, but did not get convicted because the main witness in the case was deceased, and there wasn't enough evidence to convict him otherwise. But he was forced, because of the community criticism of him, to leave the town that he lived in, and he moved to a remote, isolated cabin up in the mountains, miles away from neighbors, just to get away from everybody who was after him. Well, as I said in the first video, Sue watches for stories like this, and when she saw this one, she packed her bags and headed out west to find him. Well, she tracked him down to his cabin, and from what I understand, she sat on the side of the hill in the trees with her binoculars and watched him for a few days to get a pattern of what he was doing. And she knew that almost every night he would drink until he passed out, to a drunken stupor on his couch, and that was his life, drinking and passing out. Well, she waited for him to leave one day, go to town, I guess, to get more alcohol, and she snuck into his cabin and looked around and made a plan from what she saw. Well, later that night, as usual, he passed out drunk on the couch. She sneaks into the house with a wrench and loosens a fitting on his propane heater, and there just happened to be a fire in the fireplace, and before she could get very far away, back to her hiding spot and back to her vehicle to hike out of the woods. But the cabin caught fire, exploded, burned to the ground, killing the guy. And in her mind, that was the right thing to do. The news report showed that the authorities ruled it as accidental death due to leaking propane tank or propane heater and fire in the fireplace. So she thought the right thing was done, and you have to be the judge whether she did the right thing or not. But if you want more information about other cases like this, you can go to the website, therightthingseries.com, and read about the other 15 or whatever cases there are there that she's done, and how she does it, and where she's located. If you're a bad guy, bad girl, you need to look at the website. If you're just interested in interesting cases, that'll help too. But in any case, you need to be careful out there. Thank you.